Let's talk about one of the most powerful books I think anyone can ever read. It's called Man's Search for Meaning, and it was written by Viktor Frankl, a psychiatrist who actually survived the Nazi concentration camps. And, he didn't write it just to document the horror. He wrote it because he discovered something profound in the middle of all that suffering, a way to find meaning and with it hope, no matter what's happening around you. So we're going to walk through his biggest insights, using his own story as the map.
All right, first things first. To really get what Frankl discovered, you have to understand the nightmare he was up against. We're talking about a system that was built from the ground up to completely erase a person's identity.
For the prisoners in the camps, this wasn't some deep philosophical question. It was their reality, every single day. Think about it. Everything that makes you, your job, your family, your dreams, even your own name, gone. Just poof. They were boiled down to what Frankl called a naked existence.
This was Viktor Frankl's new name. He wasn't Dr. Frankl, a leading neurologist, anymore. He wasn't a husband or a son. He was just prisoner number 119104. Basically, a piece of property sold to a construction company for a few bucks a day.
And when he says they had nothing, he means it in the most brutal, literal way possible. This wasn't just about losing your social status. We're talking wedding rings, family photos, even the hair on their heads was shaved off. It was a systematic effort to sever every single tie to their past, leaving them with nothing but the raw, terrible present.
So in this absolute psychological hell, you can imagine what happened. The prisoners went into shock. Then came this deep, crushing apathy. It was like a kind of emotional death. But here's the thing. Frankl, the psychiatrist, he looked at this and realized this isn't a weakness. It's not a flaw. In a situation this insane, shutting down is the only normal reaction you can have.
And it's right there, at rock bottom, in that state of complete nothingness, that Frankl makes an observation. An observation so powerful it became the cornerstone of his entire life's work.
Think about it. Even when you've lost it all, your home, your health, the people you love, even your name, Frankl said there is one final thing that is always in your control. Something the guards, the fences, the entire situation could never, ever touch.
They could control his body, but they could never control his mind. And he saw proof of this all around him. He saw men walking from hut to hut, comforting others, giving away their very last scrap of bread. What they were proving in those small moments was that you can take everything from a person, except for one thing, the freedom to choose how you're going to respond.
So, this massive idea that our true freedom lies in our response, this is the heart of the therapy he went on to create. He called it Logotherapy.
Frankl really saw his work as the next step in psychology. You've got Freud, who said our main drive is the will to pleasure. Then you've got Adler, who said it's the will to power. But Frankl came along and said, you're both missing the biggest one. He argued that the most fundamental human drive is our search for meaning, our will to meaning.
And listen, this isn't just some abstract theory born from tragedy. It holds up today. A huge survey of almost 8,000 college students found that the #1 goal for 78% of them was finding purpose and meaning in their lives. Only 16% said their top goal was making a lot of money. It really is a universal human need.
So, what happens when that drive for meaning gets blocked? Well, Frankl had a name for that too, the existential vacuum. It's that empty, hollow feeling you get when your life lacks purpose. And he believed this vacuum was the real root cause for so much of the depression, addiction, and despair we see in the modern world. Okay, so if this search for meaning is so important for our well-being, the big question is, how do we actually do it? The great thing about Frankl is that he was super practical. He laid out 3 clear paths we can follow.
First, you can find meaning through action by creating something, building something, or accomplishing a task. Second, you can find it in connection by experiencing beauty in nature or art or, and this is a big one, by loving another person. And then there's the third path, and this is maybe the most profound of all, finding meaning in the attitude you take towards suffering you simply cannot avoid.
Frankl tells this incredible story about that third path. An old doctor came to him, just devastated and depressed after his wife died. Frankl asked him, "Doctor, what would have happened if you had died first?" And the doctor said, "Oh, she would have suffered terribly." Frankl then gently pointed out, "You see, you have spared her that suffering, but the price you have to pay is to survive and mourn her." In that single moment, the doctor's pain was reframed. It wasn't meaningless anymore. It was a sacrifice, an act of love.
And that's the absolute power of this idea. The pain doesn't just vanish, but the second you find a meaning in it, a purpose, a reason, you can turn a personal tragedy into a kind of victory, an inner triumph. Now, all of this builds up to a fundamental, game-changing shift in how we ought to think about life itself. We've all done it, right? We've all looked up at the sky and asked that huge question, what is the meaning of life? According to Frankl, we've been getting it completely backwards. We're asking the wrong question to the wrong entity.
He completely flips the script. It's not our job to question life about its meaning. Instead, it is life that is questioning us. Every single day, every single moment is posing a question to you. What are you going to do now? How are you going to respond? And we don't answer with words. We answer with our actions. We answer by being responsible.
Frankl loved this quote from Nietzsche because he saw it play out in the most extreme way imaginable. In the camps, the people who were most likely to survive weren't always the strongest or the healthiest. They were the ones who had a why, a reason to keep going, a child waiting at home, a book they had to finish writing, a loved one they had to honor. That why gave them the strength to endure almost any how.
And this is where Frankl leaves us, with his powerful, chilling, and ultimately hopeful thought. He saw the absolute worst that human beings are capable of, but he also saw the absolute best. He realized that the same species can create the gas chamber and also walk into it with dignity and prayer. The potential for both exists in all of us, and the choice, that last human freedom, is always and forever ours to make.